Welcome back, guys, to the CFB Rundown. I'm one of your hosts, JT Hill, and we got Quinn Bewley over there. Today, we're going to be previewing all the games, all the major games for this weekend. And there's not a ton, but we're also going to be making our upset watches, not predictions, just upset watches. And yeah, let's get right into it. First, we're going to talk about Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. And wait, hold up. Oklahoma has one loss or two loss. Yeah, they're both 6-1. And this is the storyline because no 3-loss team has made the CFB last year, the college football playoff last year. The loser would likely have to win out to be in. And right after that, if you're Oklahoma, you're like, okay, that we got to win this because Oklahoma, after this Ole Miss game, which is a huge game, they play Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. Oh my gosh, Oklahoma's
They have
done.
the hardest schedule remaining.
They might be 6-6. There's a chance. I don't think that'll happen, but there's a chance. Let's see Ole Miss's schedule. They play South Carolina. That's a tough game. I'm not saying that's a loss, but that's a tough game. It is at Ole Miss, though. They play the Citadel. That's a win. They play Florida and Mississippi State. So if you're Oklahoma, after seeing those schedules, you have to win this game. Ole Miss could likely win out. If you're Oklahoma, you have got to win out because your schedule is brutal. And, sorry, you don't have to win out, but Oklahoma has to win this game. It's if they don't win this game, personally, I think they're out of the CFP, and I don't think that they would make it if they lost that because like LSU, they're not a great team, but it's still the SEC. They play Alabama, that's probably a loss. That's just if I'm an Oklahoma fan, I'm looking at that schedule and I'm like, oh crap. I mean, even Tennessee, they're not a horrible team, and Missouri, LSU, and Tennessee are all the questionable teams, but they still have great. They still have wins and they still have all right records, and they're all ranked currently. Tennessee is currently 17, LSU's 20, and Missouri's 15. I think they're gonna lose to Alabama, and if they lost to Ole Miss tomorrow, then they would be 9-3 by the end of the season. If you're an Oklahoma fan, you're going to hope that they win this game. And it's at Oklahoma, and that's definitely going to help them because Oklahoma has a legit home field advantage. And I think Oklahoma's going to have to run this ball. John Mateer, I mean, hopefully he's feeling better. It's all going to come down to, at the end of the season, should we have played him versus Texas? And currently I'm saying no. I don't know if he's 100%. I don't know how he's feeling, but you're going to have to be able to run the ball because John Mateer he might not be at 100%. And this Ole Miss offense, they almost beat Georgia last week. They scored a lot of points in the first half, and then they slowed down in the second half. But this Ole Miss team is legit, and I think Oklahoma's favored in this game. But really, don't be shocked if it goes either way. And right now I'm leaning toward Ole Miss because that uncertainty with Oklahoma, and they have lost to Texas. And they only lost to Texas. But that losing to Texas right now, that might be the worst thing that can happen to you. Because Texas is Texas, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But Oklahoma is in a little bit of a rut right now, and I think Ole Miss is going to just take that knockout punch and knock out Oklahoma. I think it'll be a very close game, and yeah, Ole Miss's QB, Trinidad Chambliss, he's a dog, and he played well against Georgia. Well, he didn't play great, he played well, and I think he's going to play great against this Oklahoma defense. But yeah, I mean, Trinidad Chambliss is going to have to run a lot because Oklahoma's defense has the best pressure rate and they have the most sacks, and their blitz is at the 5th highest rate. So that's going to be tough, but Trinidad Chambliss is a great under pressure QB, and I think that he's going to be able to find a way. He has a higher PFF grade outside the pocket than inside the pocket, and that's great. He is kind of like a Sam Levitt type guy. I see that in the notes. And yeah, he's a mobile QB, and I think that they're going to find a way to get this win. And yeah, I got Ole Miss winning this game. Ooh. It's a tough one. Honestly, because of how good Oklahoma's defense is, but because of how inconsistent their offense is, I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. I think it's going to be 20 to 17 Ole Miss. I think it's going to be a very, very low scoring game.
Yeah, so I'm just going to preview just each offense versus each defense, starting off with Ole Miss. So Oklahoma's defense, their defensive line in particular, is one of the best in the country. They have pressure rate on 47%. They'll get pressure to the quarterback almost 50% of the time. That is best in the country. And they also have 30 sacks, which is also best in the country. However, Trinidad Chambliss, like JT said, is one of the best quarterbacks outside of the pocket. So this could work to Ole Miss's advantage because they're going to blitz and they're going to send pressure, but Chambliss so far has done a great job getting outside of the pocket and getting away from the pressure. So Oklahoma might have to play a QB spy out there because they have to respect the fact that Chambliss can run. And if they don't do that, it might be a little hard for them to keep up on defense. And for Oklahoma's offense, like JT said, they just have to find somewhat of a run game. They actually ran the ball quite well. Torrey Blaylock had his breakout game against South Carolina last week. Can they do it on a consistent effort? Ole Miss's run defense isn't spectacular. They're not garbage, but they're pretty much average. So they can run the ball. It's just a matter of will they. Because what they've did in the Texas game and what they've honestly been doing this entire season, they can't run the ball, and they're just relying on John Mateer, who right now clearly isn't 100%. I wouldn't even say he's 50%. He's clearly hurt on his throwing hand, so if they can't run the ball, Mateer's going to have to do a lot, and I just don't know if he's capable of doing it with his physical limitations right now. So they have to run the ball, and I'm with JT. I have Ole Miss winning just because I just don't trust Oklahoma's offense, and I trust Ole Miss's offense a little bit more. I also agree with him saying that it's going to be a low-scoring game. I have a weird score. I have them winning, Ole Miss winning 19-17.
Yeah, that's a very interesting score, but I never see accurate predictions of scores. It's never 27-24. I see every single person 27-26, 31-28. I've never seen a legit no one predicted Oregon to blow out, or Ohio State to blow out Oregon last year 41-20. It's always, it's just how it goes. You gotta have the guts to do that. Let's go Missouri Vanderbilt. This is where College Game Day is going, and we thought that College Game Day could go to Arizona State, but they ended up going to Missouri Vanderbilt. I understand, but Missouri, I think they're done. I think Vanderbilt, I don't even need to go long. I think Vanderbilt is a legit team, and I really like this Vandy team. I think they have a great chance to honestly make it to the CFP. They do play Texas next, which I didn't even realize. How was Texas freaking ranked, bro? Oh my gosh. I'm sick of this crap, bro. After beating Kentucky in overtime, whatever. They play Texas, that's a dub. They play Auburn, they play Kentucky, and they play Tennessee. So there is a shot that Vanderbilt ends up being 11-1 playing Alabama or Texas saying, well, yeah, Vanderbilt's going to need a loss by Texas A&M, but there's a chance that Vandy plays Alabama in the SEC championship with the way their schedule's looking out. And then they play Missouri. And Missouri's schedule for the rest of the season is it's right in the middle. They play Vandy. They play Texas A&M. That's a tough game. And then after that, well, it's an up and down game. It's an up and down rest of their season. And they play Mississippi State. They definitely should get that one. Then they play Oklahoma. That could be a loss there. And then they play Arkansas. So Missouri. This is a must-win for Missouri, and not a must-win for Vandy, I would say, because Missouri is coming off a loss to Alabama. That can really just you can lose a lot of momentum from that, and I think this is a big win, a big game for Missouri. I think this revolves around the end of the season, and I think if they win this game, they have a great shot at still going far this season. But for Vandy, I think if they lose this game, they still have a chance. That would be 2 losses, and if they had 2 losses by the end of the season, they would definitely make the CFP. So, yeah, this is the same exact thing with Oklahoma versus Ole Miss. Because a no 3-loss team last year made the CFP, which things could change, but we don't know, the loser would probably have to win out. And with the schedule, I think Vanderbilt has a better chance at winning out than Missouri. So Missouri, there's a lot of pressure, like Oklahoma. So Missouri and Oklahoma are both in really tough spots. And ironic because they both play each other. So, wow, if Missouri and Oklahoma both lose, then one of those teams is guaranteed to be out, you could say, because they play each other. And not guaranteed, but that's just funny how that happens. And Diego Pavia, he's a great running quarterback. He's great under pressure, but Missouri's defensive line is pretty legit. And I think if Missouri wants to win this game, they gotta give the ball to Ahmad Hardy. He was silent in the Alabama game. He had a couple good runs. And I think, what's that guy's name again? The Missouri wide receiver that we... Dude, I don't remember what it is. What is it, Quinn?
I don't remember his name. It starts with an O, and it was like something I couldn't pronounce, but I don't know. It was. I
gotta find out.
I have something.
Players. He's a wide receiver.
He's number 3, I think.
Yeah.
3.
Donovan.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Alugbade. Donovan Alugbade. That guy's a dog, and Bo Pribula is gonna have to run the ball himself, but also hand it off to Ahmad Hardy and give the ball. I already forgot his name. Donovan Alugbade. That guy, for me personally, just watching that game, I was like, yo, next year you got to be watching out for this guy. He's a freshman, guys, and true freshman too, I think. That's scary. That guy's a threat. But back to the stuff. Missouri's going to have to run the ball. That's all I'm saying if they want to win this game. And, yeah, Missouri's going to have to run this ball. And I want to lean toward Missouri because, like, Vanderbilt is riding high. Diego Pavia freaking trash-talking them. I don't know if he has done that, but I'm expecting that he will. I'm going to take Missouri for the upset. I'm going to go 21-17 Missouri. Another low-scoring game. And, yeah, we'll see how Diego Pavia does with that defensive line coming right at his face. But I'm excited for this game. I'm definitely excited. And I can see why game day went here, honestly. But they have been like an SEC or Big Ten game like for the entire year, so that does frustrate me, but whatever.
Yeah, so this game is actually very similar to the game we just previewed, the Oklahoma-Ole Miss game. Because the storyline, I copy and pasted it from the other one. Because no 3-loss team made the college football playoff last year, the loser would likely have to win out to be in. So a lot of pressure, not just on Missouri, but on Vanderbilt, because I don't think a 3-loss Vanderbilt's going to get it either. So this is basically a must-win for either of these teams. And the offense, Vanderbilt's offense, similar to Ole Miss's, Diego Pavia, he's a dual-threat quarterback, great under pressure. However, Missouri has one of the best defensive lines in the country. They have the third best pressure rate, and they have one of the best, if not the best, edge rusher duos in the country of Zion Young and Damon Wilson, who are second and third in pressure rate. So Missouri's going to get pressure. It's just a matter of will Diego Pavia evade it and just make plays, which he has been doing all season, but this might be the biggest test that he's having to face. Now, Missouri's offense, Ahmad Hardy's outstanding. Bo Pribula running the ball, he's great. However, their run game's kind of gotten shut down the past few days, and the the past few weeks. And they just need to lean on their identity. Don't force Prebula to drop back 40 times. Run the ball with Ahmad Hardy first, second, and if it's third and short, run it again. So Missouri, they just have to lean on their identity. Just keep running the ball, even if you don't think it'll work. Just give it to your playmakers. Give it to Ahmad Hardy, who is the best player on the offense. And don't force Bro Prebula to carry, because that's what he's been doing and that's what he's had to do, and he struggled. He had the 2 picks against Bama. He didn't do so great against Auburn. They do have playmakers out wide, Donovan something day and Kevin
Aglubide, I think.
Well, I'll learn his name eventually, and Kevin Coleman Jr. So they have playmakers, just Prebula has struggled. So how Vanderbilt can win is if Diego Pavia gets mobile and they stop the run, tackle Ahmad Hardy, and make Prebula beat them by drop back passing, and contain Missouri's very great defensive line. How Missouri can win if they run the ball, run block well, don't make Prebula do too much, contain Pavia. I have Vanderbilt winning. I just trust Diego Pavia. Their offense just... I don't know if Missouri's defense can stop it, and ultimately, it's just a battle of the quarterbacks. Who do I think has the better quarterback? I think Vanderbilt does. I have them winning 28. I don't know if I want to go weird score. I have them winning 28-20. Yeah, I'll say 24.
Okay. Last game of the night that we're going to be talking about, Texas A&M versus LSU. It's at LSU, and let me just say that definitely helps them, because it is a night game, and I guess night games are kind of crazy at LSU. But Texas A&M has been dominating this year, and whether it's been a close game or a very not even a close game, they still have won every single game. And yes, we like to compare the fact that they almost lost to Arkansas, but they pulled out with the win. And it's the SEC. And there's a difference between a win and there's a difference between a loss. I hate the stuff in the middle. You either win or you lose. And they won. And they're 6-0. And that's why I don't even need to talk about this game. They're going to find a way to win this game. LSU, this is a must-win for them. And, well, let me see LSU's record real quick.
They're 5-2.
They're 5-2. Oh, wow. Guys, I think it's the hardest game to pick, if I'm being completely honest. And Texas A&M has been phenomenal. They're 7-0 right now. And I think it all comes down to one player, and it's Marcel Reed. Can he play in that LSU environment where it's tough to play in, and it's going to be rowdy, it's going to be crazy, because they're number 3 seed, because Texas A&M is number 3 seed? Can he hold that hype? And I think LSU has great defensive backs. Texas A&M has pretty good receivers. I'm going to go with LSU here. And I think Garrett Nussmeier, he's still a great QB. I think if LSU does not force Garrett Nussmeier to be Superman, I think LSU will win this game. And I think Texas A&M is going to kind of force Marcel Reed to be Superman in this game. I think they're going to kind of flip roles. And I'm going to take LSU 27-20 against Texas A&M. At the start, I was like, yo, Texas A&M. But looking at the record and looking at LSU, I honestly like them more and more. And they have they don't have a pretty favorable schedule at the end. But I think if they can win this can get them on track. They play Alabama, Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and Oklahoma. Texas A&M has, Texas A&M schedule is kind of easy. They play Missouri. That could change after this Vanderbilt game. And they play South Carolina. That will be an iffy game. They play Samford. That's a win. And they play Texas. So there's a great shot. Quinn's going to hate whenever I say this, at Texas A&M going undefeated. And I don't have them going undefeated. I have them being 11-1 or 10-2. And I think LSU is going to be that trap game for them. And I have LSU kind of pulling off a little bit of an upset, 27-20.
Yeah, I actually respect the pick of LSU. They're a desperate team. They have to win every single game in order to be in the college football playoff. If you really think about it, their best win is probably Clemson, who they're 3-4. That win is not aging very well for them. And just honestly, if you think it's Death Valley at night, that's one of the most hostile environments in the entire country. You could
Yeah.
argue they're the most hostile environment. They're in
Yeah.
a desperate spot. They have to win. However, I just think that the actual football on paper just leans Texas A&M. How the game is not played on football. No, wait. The game is not played on paper. It's played on a field. However, just there's a lot of stuff that leans Texas A&M, and that's mainly in the trenches. Texas A&M's edge rusher Cassius Howell leads college football in pressures, and LSU's offensive line has been one of the worst in the SEC. You saw that in the Vanderbilt game, and even in the Clemson game against TJ Parker and Peter Woods. They've just not been holding up, and Texas A&M, Cassius Howell, and the rest of these guys, Torian York, Scooby Williams, they're going to be coming after the quarterback. They have one of the best they have one of the best front sevens in the country, and just I don't know if LSU is going to hold up. LSU also has some. They also have some worries with offense. They just can't really run the ball. Caden Durham hasn't really found it yet this season, and they rely on Garrett Nussmeier to do more than he needs to do and more that he can do. They're relying on him to be Superman and to save the offense, which I guess he can. He can. He's very talented. However, when he's in that role, he tends to turn the ball over. I think he had 3 interceptions, pretty bad ones in this game last year that helped Texas A&M win. So the one thing I'll give LSU, their defensive backs and just their defensive scheme in general with Blake Baker, American hero, as Josh Pate calls him, they're very good. Mansour Delane, their defensive back, is one of the favorites to win the Thorpe Award, which is the best defensive back. And the rest of their secondary is very good and prevent explosive plays. On Texas A&M's offensive side of the ball, I agree with JT completely. This game is on Marcel Reed because he's kind of gotten the groove of things against Florida and against Arkansas, but sometimes he tends to turn the ball over, and he doesn't have a super high interception or fumble ratio, but there's a lot of balls where it probably should have been picked, but they just dropped it. And he kind of hesitates sometimes on his throws. He's inaccurate sometimes. This game, he just needs to stay under composure because this LSU Death Valley is going to be screaming in his face all night long. And Marcel Reed hasn't really been in an environment like that in a while. And when you have a ruckus crowd like that, that tends to get in the quarterback's mind. They tend to make decisions that they usually don't do, and that leads to turnovers. So, just Marcel Reed, you don't have to be Superman. Run the ball. They still have a good run game. Run the ball. Marcel Reed, he can still make throws, but he just doesn't have to make them all the time. So, I have Texas A&M winning. I just think
Voice crack.
Sorry. I have Texas A&M winning. I just think that the trench battle, at least when LSU's on offense, I just don't think LSU's going to score enough. And while Marcel Reed could lose the game for A&M, I just don't think that LSU has the offensive capability that they can to win. I have A&M winning 31-27.
Okay. So I'm just going to give you guys a little thing. I asked AI what is the most hostile college football environment, and I got Tiger Stadium LSU as the number 1. And it says famous for night games and crowd noise so loud it was once registered on a seismograph. I don't know what that is, but I think
It's like for earthquakes.
Yeah,
Dang.
earthquakes. So that obviously fans don't play the game, but they help. And that's definitely going to help LSU a lot. Let's go with our upset games that could happen. And yeah, let's just kick it off. Texas at Mississippi State. Hold up. Underdog. Okay. Okay, Texas is favored. 7.5 point favorites. I I honestly like this pick. I think Texas will cover on this one. Yeah, I think Texas. No, I think Mississippi State will cover, but Texas will win this game. I think it'll be a very close game, but I think Arch Manning is gonna shock the world in this game against Mississippi State, who's iffy. I think Texas will win this game, but Mississippi State will cover the 7.5.
You know what? I have Mississippi State winning outright. You could have debated Kentucky took them to overtime. Their offense looked awful. I do think that for Texas, Mississippi State's run defense isn't that great, but so they should be able to run the ball, which they really haven't with Trey Wisner and CJ Baxter. They could do that, but they really haven't been giving them carries. They're making Arch Manning do too much, and Mississippi State has a great secondary, and their offense with Blake Shapen, Devon Booth, Fluff Bothwell's injured, sadly, but Brennan Thompson, Anthony Evans, these guys are explosive and can make plays. I think that it's at Mississippi State, which is one of the most annoying places to play the Cowbells. I just don't know if Arch Manning's going to be ready for that. And I have Mississippi State winning outright to be my biggest upset of the week.
Yeah, I thought it was at Texas. I'm going to take Mississippi State to just win the game. I forgot about the Cowbells. Arch Manning is not going to like that. So give me Mississippi State to just win it outright. Minnesota at Iowa. They're 8.5 underdogs. Give me Iowa to win, but Minnesota to cover. I like this Minnesota team. They just beat Nebraska. They're 5-2. They are riding high. But this Iowa team is pretty good. They just came off a win versus Penn State, which I guess doesn't prove anything. But I really like this Minnesota team. I don't think that they'll win, but I think that they're going to cover, and it'll be a close game. It's at Iowa. If it was at Minnesota, I think I would take Minnesota. But, yeah, Minnesota team is looking better than last year.
I also have the same prediction. I have Iowa winning and Minnesota covering. I just think it's going to be a close game. I just think Iowa's offensive line is one of the best in the country. Nobody really says that because they're not that good. But honestly, they still have an outside chance to make the Big Ten championship if they win out, and they need some help. But Iowa's a good team. They tested Indiana. That was the closest game that Indiana's played so far. And Minnesota coming off of a big win against Nebraska, I just don't think that they're going to beat Iowa. They're going to make it close, which is why I have them to cover.
Okay, next we're going to go Arizona State versus Houston. ASU is favored by 7.5. Give me ASU covering. And the reason I think that ASU will win and cover the spread is because I've heard a little bit. I haven't heard a lot. But I think Houston is kind of overlooking ASU because ASU is like, Kenny Dillingham is like, oh, Houston's so good. Oh, my gosh. They're amazing. And I think Houston is just riding high. Oh, my gosh. 6-1. We just beat University of Arizona. We can just beat another Arizona team. We can beat ranked teams. I think Houston is kind of underestimating this ASU team because of the loss to Utah and their loss to Mississippi State. And that's why I'm taking ASU. No one's thinking that, but that's what I'm taking, what Houston is kind of preparing. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but yeah, give me ASU.
I have Arizona State winning. I have Houston covering. I think Arizona State is one of the best teams at one-score games. I think they could be in another one-score game. I just think Jordan Tyson's out. I know that. I just think Sam Leavitt, he's going to get back in the groove of things. I don't think he's going to be at 100%, but he was able to run pretty good last week against Texas Tech, and I think they found a spark in the offense not named Jordan Tyson. And Jaron Hamilton, he only had 3 catches, but 2 of them were for more than, 40 yards. Great throws, great plays. And if he can do that again against this Houston secondary, which is pretty decent, but I think he can do that. And then they're going to work in some other receivers, maybe Jalen Moss and maybe Malik McClain, who knows. Shimon Mateer's in there. They also can run the ball. Houston, they have a great team. Connor Wegman, Tanner Koziol, and Dean Connors, their offense, their big 3, they're great. However, I just think Arizona State at home, I think their home field advantage, which is
they have 10
exponentially exponentially rising. They haven't lost since 2022 under Kenny 2023 under Kenny Dillingham. 10 straight home wins. I think they get a 11th one, but give me Houston to cover.
South Florida at Memphis. South Florida's favored by 6.5. Give me South Florida to cover. I really like this team, and this Memphis team used to be riding high, but after that loss to UAB, I don't see them beating South Florida.
Yeah, I have South Florida winning and covering. I heard something about Memphis's quarterback is questionable for this game, so that just even more gives me South Florida. I really like this team. Their offense is very explosive with Byron Brown, with Chaz Nimron, Keyshawn Singleton. They play one of the fastest, if not the fastest, tempos. I was watching the game against North Texas. ESPN actually had a graphic that showed up a clock timer of seconds before plays, which just I've never seen that before, because they're trying to prove a point that USF, they run very, very fast. Right after they get down, they're sprinting to the new line of scrimmage, and I think that that's just going to overwhelm Memphis. So give me South Florida to win outright.
Iowa State favored against, I don't even know what rank BYU is. I think they're 12 or 11.
I think they're 11th.
Iowa State's favored minus 2.5. Give me Iowa State. It's homecoming. It's at Iowa State. They have all the momentum because they're fired up, and because they have 2 losses, BYU's counting them out. Give me Iowa State to pull off the dub, and covering obviously minus 2.5. But yeah, give me Iowa State.
I also have Iowa State winning and covering. I think it'll be close, but I have them covering just because it's a 2.5-point spread. I think they'll win by 3, which is covering. I just think BYU, they can afford a loss. Iowa State certainly cannot. They have to win every game, and they're going to need help in order to win the Big 12 championship. I think they're a desperate team, and they're going to go all out for this game.
UCLA. Indiana is 26.5 favorites. This is where people start to think I'm crazy. Give me UCLA to win. That sounds stupid, but this UCLA team is actually they still have a chance at making the college football playoff as a 4-loss team. Give me UCLA winning and shocking the world, beating Indiana at Indiana and covering and winning. This is probably my upset pick of the year. I'd be shocked if this happened, but give me UCLA.
I'm not going to be that bold. I have Indiana. I do think UCLA will easily cover. The 26.5-point spread is just
that's
awful.
insane.
It'll be much closer than that.
They're not playing
UCLA. UCLA's not out of it. They started off 0-4, but if they win out, they would win the Big Ten with wins over Ohio State and Indiana. That would get them in the playoff.
They only have 1 conference loss, which is absurd.
Yeah.
And if they beat Indiana, they are tied for the best. If they beat Indiana, the only undefeated team in the conference is Ohio State. So they would be, I think they would be. Oh wait, who is their conference lost to?
Northwestern.
Oh wow,
Week 4.
That's actually okay.
That was before they beat Penn State, though.
Yeah, that's not a bad loss, but still. They're not out of it. They're way not out of it. Arkansas, Auburn. Arkansas is favored against Auburn, minus 2.5. Is it at Arkansas or at Auburn? Do you know?
I think it's at Auburn.
Oh, it's at Arkansas.
Let me fact check that.
Give me Arkansas to win. Because it's at Arkansas. If it was at Auburn, I'd be picking Auburn to win this.
I have Arkansas to win. I just think I saw something. It was some betting line. I just do it to see the favorites. I can't bet legally. I just do it to see the favorites, and I saw some weird betting website that I've never seen, and it said Auburn 1.5 quarterbacks played, which honestly,
that's actually crazy.
I might bet the over. I think that Jackson Arnold hasn't been great. And if this gets out of hand early, you could see an Ashton Daniels or I forget, it was Deuce Knight, their 5-star quarterback. You could see them come in.
Five-star. All the 5 stars at Auburn, but they're 3-4.
Yeah.
So
I just think
shouldn't
Arkansas,
say
their offense, and Taylon Green's one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. No one's going to say that because they're not that good. But Arkansas, interim head coach, they have nothing to lose. They're just going to play all out.
Yeah.
They almost did beat Texas A&M. Their offense scored 42 against A&M's defense, which has been pretty solid all year. Auburn's secondary isn't that great. Their front seven is probably top 10. However, their secondary isn't that great. Give me Arkansas to win by probably more than 10.
Alabama at South Carolina. Give me Alabama to cover. They're favored by 11.5. The South Carolina team will show some fight in the first half, and Alabama's going to run away after the second half. Give me Alabama.
I also have them winning and covering. I just don't see how South Carolina can score. I saw some video. There were people, South Carolina students, that were just like in the middle of campus with signs protesting to fire their offensive coordinator.
Wow, that's some Florida type stuff.
And there was like 50 guys there. There's like a lot of people there just protesting to fire their offensive coordinator. Their offense hasn't been great. The play calling you could blame. Lenora Sellers, yes, he's talented, but he just really, other than him and Nick Harbor, the offense just is non-existent. I just don't think that they can score on Alabama, which their defense has been great. Give me Alabama to win outright.
And that's going to wrap it up for today's podcast. I'm hyped for this college football weekend. It's an underrated, but going to be a good weekend. Hopefully, y'all have a fun time watching those games. This is me, JT. That's Quinn Bewley. Checking out. Have fun. Go watch some College Game Day. Checking out.